Hey, it's a Humble Collector here, and today's video we're going to be taking a look at a postcard from my collection. As you can see here, this postcard is from the US Naval Training Station in Great Lakes, Illinois, and at the bottom there we can see that the commander of the school is Rear Admiral Downes. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the history of the school, talk a little bit about Downes, and then we're going to actually flip it over, look at the sender of this letter, and actually talk a little bit about them and their service. So starting off, the US Naval Training Station in Great Lakes, Illinois, opened in 1911 and is the Navy's largest training location and its only boot camp. So anybody who's in the Navy during World War I, World War II through today, that's where they go to basic training. And over 1 million men would train there during World War II. So it was a very busy location. And Rear Admiral Downes, who was the commander of the school, graduated from the Naval Academy in 1901 and was awarded the Legion of Merit for his role as a commander of the 9th Naval District and commander of the school during the Second World War. Unfortunately, beyond that, really was not able to find too much information on him. Now, if we scroll over to the back here, we can see that this letter was sent by a Melvin Kenneth Baringer, and just very brief message saying, I'm okay. And I was actually able to find information on Melvin, so going through some of that here. Melvin's service number was 858-5915, and he was born on July 29th, 1907, in Berlin Center, Ohio. He would enlist in the military on December 22nd, 1943, and would be discharged on November 29th, 1945. Now, I was actually able to find his original draft registration. He was 33 when he registered for the draft in Spring Creek, PA. He was 5'6", weighed 135 pounds, and was of ruddy complexion with brown hair and blue eyes. His employment is listed as self-employed. And going through, Ancestry, doing some more research, he married Dorothy Elizabeth Coons in 1927, and they would have 3 children. And I was actually able to find a ship's roster that had his name on it from near the end of the war there. Apparently, for at least the last part of the war, he served on board USS Otus, ARG-20, which was a submarine tender from 1941 to 1945. And then in 1945, it was converted to an internal combustion engine repair ship, which is pretty cool. It was decommissioned in 1946 and would end up being scrapped in 1970. And it was named Otus after the mythological son of Iphimedia and Poseidon. Now, during the Second World War, the early part, it was actually stationed in Mariveles Bay in the Philippines at the start of the war and would be slightly damaged by Japanese bombs landing off her starboard side on January 10th. She was then sent to Australia and would serve throughout the war as a tender near various islands from Java, Sri Lanka, and New Guinea. Very active throughout the war. The ship had a crew of 644, a displacement of 5,775 tons, and was nearly 418 feet long. Now, according to this roster I was able to find, Melvin was a machinist mate 3rd class at the end of the war, and first joined the ship on June 20th, 1945. So where he was between graduating from the academy there, and, not the academy, the training center there, and joining the active part of the force, I really don't know what he was doing prior to June 20th, 1945, or wasn't really able to find anything. Now, he would, of course, survive the war, discharged, like I said, November 29th, 1945, and actually lived a fairly long life. He died March 13th, 1998, and is actually buried in a cemetery near Berlin Center, Ohio. Now, for those of you who've been around the channel for a while, you might know I live in Western Pennsylvania. I lived here all my life, and I actually did a little quick search, and Berlin Center is only, like 2.5 hours away from where I live, roughly. So I was doing this research on a Saturday, and then Sunday rolled around. I was like, well, I got nothing better to do. And, I don't really get the opportunity to go and visit graves very often for, the guys who were related to items in my collection. So I decided to go out there. So I packed up my car, grabbed the postcard, and drove 2.5 hours to Ohio. I will say, for those of you who may have been watching the news, there was recently a very bad train accident in East Palestine, and I drove right by the sign that says, "Welcome to East Palestine." Did not realize I was going to be going that close. But yeah, we ended up in Berlin Center, no problem. And the cemetery there, the West Berlin Cemetery, actually very nice. I was the only one there. I was there for about a half hour. Not super big, probably only like 100 graves or so. And a surprising amount of veterans dating back, at least as far as the Civil War that I could see. World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam. And Melvin's grave's actually right up there in front. He's buried with his wife there, and his parents' graves are actually right next to his. So up on screen here, you can see a picture of the postcard with the grave, which is pretty neat. It's not often that I get to do that, so it was really kind of a cool experience. But yeah, overall, it's amazing, kind of the information, the stories that even a simple postcard can tell. So I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Please leave a comment down below. Love hearing from you. Thank you all for watching. Happy collecting, and I'll see you all again very soon.